Hello dear viewers, you are on the CrossMoto channel, the family of motorcycles. If I were to describe this machine in 2 words, I could say the following. This is a motorcycle made for devouring thousands and thousands of kilometers of roads with maximum comfort. The Goldies engine. That's a story of its own, starting from 1987. This is a flat-six engine that fit perfectly into the concept of a luxury tourer. A large displacement to match the size of the motorcycle, excellent torque, minimal vibrations, and a low center of gravity. As you know, China has been actively developing its motorcycle industry recently. In China, there are a lot of models of vehicles with sidecars, especially touring enduros that look suspiciously similar to KTM products, and cruisers, whose appearance was definitely inspired by Harley-Davidson. A recent innovation in the Chinese motorcycle industry is a motorcycle. 2000 presented to the public on May 17, 2024. This large asphalt bike is a direct competitor and is equipped with an 8-cylinder 2-liter boxer engine. Let's take a closer look at 2000. Why did the auto concern need to get into the motorcycle industry? What features does their creation have? And let's think about whether the Chinese Goldwing can at least partially become as legendary a motorcycle as the company's flagship. Enjoy watching! Let's start with the fact that rumors about the imminent appearance of Continuation Followed have been circulating online for a year. At first, these were short little articles, either with a diagram of the engine or with a few photos of the prototype being tested. And yes, the main buzz was, and still is, around the motorcycle's engine. You don't see a two-wheeled machine with 8 cylinders every day. The history of motorcycle manufacturing knows examples of two-wheeled machines with 8-cylinder engines. Moto Guzzi V8, Galbusera V8 Norton, Nemesis, Boss Hoss, and so on. The first was an exotic racer with limited production. The following 3 machines remained prototypes, and only can boast a production run of 2,000 units. It's unique because it's the first motorcycle to use an opposed 8-cylinder engine. At the same time, unlike the 5, which uses a car engine, the motorcycle's engine was developed from scratch. It all began with an automotive company in China called Great Wall Motor. Great Wall Motor. The company was founded back in 1984, and today it is the 8th largest car manufacturer in China, with a number of subsidiary divisions. The company is managed by billionaire Wei Jianjun. He became the chief executive officer in 1990. And this is a case where the ambitions of the management of a large and well-funded automotive company have extended to motorcycles. Reports say Jianjun was long interested in motorcycles, but his company didn't produce them then. What do you need to do when you break into a new niche? How do you make a splash so that everyone is talking about your new technology? If you build a fairly typical standard motorcycle, not much different from the products of other brands, you won't surprise anyone with that. That's why they decided to compete with luxury tourers by introducing 2 motorcycles with an opposed 8-cylinder engine. The first version, which has already been shown to the public, in many ways resembles, while the second one looks like a cruiser on the outside. Before that, a subsidiary was created for the production of two-wheeled vehicles under the name. The last word in the name means soul. Overall, the motorcycle borrows many ideas embodied by the company in the model, but their final implementation in the 2000s is different. Let's take a look at the engine. In terms of layout, it's similar to the Honda 6-cylinder, also an opposed engine, with the transmission mounted under the crankshaft. However, besides having more cylinders, this engine also features a dual-cam valve timing system with 4 valves per cylinder, while the Honda has a single camshaft and 2 valves per cylinder. The opposed 8-cylinder engine has a displacement of 2,000 cubic centimeters. Unfortunately, the manufacturer is currently keeping the engine's power and torque specifications, fuel consumption data, tank volume, and the motorcycle's dynamic characteristics a secret. However, this information will be published closer to the start of sales. As in the optional version, the 10200 has an automatic 8-speed transmission with 2 clutches. Also, the 2000 has an automatic 8-speed transmission with 2 clutches. A reverse gear is also provided. The torque from the gearbox to the rear wheel is transmitted by a drive shaft. The motorcycle frame is entirely made of aluminum, its components are joined together by welding, and there are no bolted connections. The front suspension draws attention. This is not a telescopic fork. Apparently, a fork design similar to the one with a double transverse arm and a single shock absorber is used here. This is the most optimal option for such heavy motorcycles, allowing to smooth out the dive during braking. 2 discs in the front, 1 in the back, and 4 piston calipers everywhere. The motorcycle has the following dimensions: 2660 by 950 by 1, 21.25984 inches, 1810 740, and the dry weight is around 881 pounds. The luxury Tourer's luggage system includes a 64-liter central case and 2 27-liter side cases totaling 31.17 gallons of storage capacity. Features include parking assistant, cruise control, ABS, heated handlebar grips, electronically adjustable shock absorbers, and electrically adjustable windscreen. The multimedia system is headed by a 12.3-inch monitor and features voice control capability. And now, having gotten a little familiar with the specifications of the Chinese newcomer, let's discuss its potential competition with Honda. Naturally, at the time of the new product's release, it's difficult to say anything about its reliability or whether it has any initial issues. Although they claim that at present, the motorcycles undergo strict testing before mass production, including in conditions of high and low temperatures and at high altitudes above sea level. It is also unclear at the moment whether the motorcycles will be exported abroad or if they are intended exclusively for the domestic Chinese market. In particular, it is known that on the domestic market, 2000 will compete with 1200, 50, and 1200. Also, creating such a massive and large volume tourer is a good move for competing with other Chinese motorcycle brands that have not yet moved to larger engines. Entering foreign markets for a new brand requires creating a sufficiently wide distribution and dealer network, and this is not an easy process. And even if the motorcycle itself turns out to be an engineering marvel, reliable and superior in performance, without dealers, a service network, and aggressive marketing, it will be very difficult to take a significant share of the market currently held by Golda. Add to this the very conservative motorcycle community. I, for example, can hardly imagine a typical Golda owner who has been riding his Honda for 10 years, knows all its details and nuances, suddenly switching to a similar motorcycle from China. A more realistic scenario is to trade in the old Golda for a new one. It's expected that the 2000 will be cheaper than the Honda. It will cost about $21,000 to $28,000, depending on production volume and configuration. The fact that car production is deliberately expanding around the world, and some of its brands are already available in Europe and Asia, is a strong hint that the company's motorcycle division will try to do the same. 2000 is a truly ambitious and interesting attempt to create a flagship motorcycle for comfortable touring. But how much it will be able to compete and whether it will succeed at all, only time will tell. The motorcycle has just debuted, and its sales launch is announced for the end of 2024. What do you think the result will be? Write about it in the comments. And with that, my story ends. As always, this was the CrossMoto channel. Until next time.